I couldn't put my arms down and I couldn't put my legs together, so I was walking like this. And I just remember my mum just sitting there looking at me like, what the f is going on? Hi Vogue, I'm Sam Smith and this is my life in looks. This is special to me. It's super special right now because I'm celebrating 10 years since my first album, so it's beautiful to see. I think for me in this picture, this was the first time really since I probably was about 10 years old that I started really wearing mass clothing. All through school, I wore dresses and leggings and makeup and quite wild clothes through my teens. And in this picture, I was 20 years old and I just got a record deal and I'd released a few songs and I started to find a lot of comfort in just dressing down for the first time. I remember that time so vividly. Through 2014 to 2016, I was working like a dog. I was working really hard, traveling the world non-stop for 3 years really. So I didn't really have a lot of time to experiment, time to rejoice. When I was young, I used to have so much fun. My clothes really used to be an armor for me. I used to dress up before I went into school because I'd be going to the school playground and be dealing with bullies and horrible things said to me. So clothing for me really was a safety. Oh my God. I remember this coat was a really nice coat. I remember it was the first coat I ever wore that was cashmere and it felt so good. It felt really good, but it was fucking hot. And also I remember at the time there was this choice I made to not wear socks and now I regret that. I'm a big fan of socks now. This was a Gucci suit. I remember we went in store to fit it. This was, I think, one of the most amazing moments of my life and my career. I'd always dreamed of being on that stage. And I remember just before this moment, I think it was Guns N' Roses or something performed and they had fire on the front of the stage and it like, I have rosacea, so if my face gets hot, I get really red. And I remember the fire just made my face really red. And then a minute after, Stevie Wonder came on and Stevie Wonder gave me my first Grammy, this Grammy. I think even back then when I wasn't changing up my style that much, I wanted to have a big wardrobe. For me, it's all about intention. I think I had intention on this night wearing this suit. I wanted to look timeless and classic, and I wanted the focus to be on me and what I was saying and what I was singing. And now, in my life, I have different intentions when I turn up to these things. Oh my gosh. So this suit, because I wore a lot of suits for like 4 years, non-stop. Dunhill did 3 suits for me during the Oscars. For my performance, for my red carpet, and then for the after party, the Vanity Fair. We did like 5, 6 fittings in Dunhill in London. And it's like this old gentleman's experience. And I really felt incredible on that night. The only way to explain it is with the waistcoat and the jacket, it almost felt like a corset to me. And I wore socks. Thank God. Thank God I wore socks. You should feel like money in a good suit. I remember I was starting to push it now in my head because I was wearing like a red lace shirt underneath, which for me was pushing it. We shot this in Lake Como in Italy during my second tour rehearsals. I remember I arrived to this video shoot on a boat in Lake Como and it felt fabulous. It felt like Mariah Carey. Next look. This, oh my gosh. This was a wild night in Paris. I didn't actually go to a lot of fashion shows and this was my second one. I remember I sat on the front row with Gal Gadot and Rebel Wilson, sandwiched in between them, which was a beautiful sandwich. I loved this outfit. I remember being fucking boiling. So hot. I think that what people don't realize about me is that I'm 6'2". You know, I wish this coat was longer now looking at it, because I like the drama. I love the drama of wearing long things and it feels good. It feels really good. But I remember actually one of the first men I ever fell in love with took me shopping when I was 19 and he put me in my first long coat. So maybe that's why I wore them so much, because I wanted to impress him. Oh God. Do you remember the pink squid in Finding Nemo? I look at this image and I'm like, what the fuck? But then also, do you know what? Fuck everyone. If I ever see images of this, I actually look at myself here and I'm like, go you. Well done, babe. Because breaking out of 6, 7 years of suits and mass clothing, breaking out of that on the world stage is an incredibly hard thing to do. I love this picture so much. I got introduced to an amazing man during my album Love Goes, my third record. His name's Ben Reardon. He really came on board in my life with some amazing people are here today too. They picked me up and said to me, and took me and said, who do you want to be? You know, what do you want to wear? What do you want to look like? Because I needed help. Up until that point, I was just rummaging around clothes, working with amazing people, but my life was overtaking the messaging of the clothes. The bracelet on my wrist here says Love Goes to my album. And it's actually such a beautiful touch to have when you're creating an image for an album, is to be wearing the words that you've written on your body. The Serpentine Gallery event, and I went with Harris Reed. This jacket and is the same designer as what I'm wearing now, Selena Dawson, and this shirt is Harris Reed. This belt is a vintage belt, the only belt that would fit me in my closet, but I love it. And then these are bespoke shoes I got made. This is a look that I wear now, and it's something that I just want to stick with forever. I think what makes for a great Soundsmith outfit is a great pair of earrings and some good shoes. Shoes are hard to find for me. I'm 6'2" and I have size 12 feet. So getting high heels for me is hard. First pair of heels were from a drag store in Australia called Priscilla's, and they were a pair of red sparkly stilettos. And I went and got them with my best friend, and we just dress up in skirts and heels and drag and just dance. So the first time I ever really wore heels I've actually got them these heels tattooed on my arm, were these red kind of Dorothy horseshoes. They're fabulous. Okay. This was an amazing look. It was Ed Maynor and this whole experience with Lahore, who did the choreo. It was just incredible. I wanted to turn myself into a compere and basically start to welcome people into this new chapter and this new show. I had all my best friends around me, so much amazing queer energy. Queer people were in control of my life for the first time in terms of my creativity. And I just felt so powerful. I felt so powerful. This was my first time I wore a corset, and it was a really long 2 days of shooting in a corset. The outer world, school and music business and all these things always wanted me to be small and little, and to control those parts of myself. I did that for a long time. I did that for 7 years. It started to make me sick. It started to make me ill and anxious and depressed. And so that was my promise to myself during that time, that I would never make myself small again for anyone else. I've always wanted to work with Kim. She hit me up to work with me when I was like 21, 22, and we couldn't get it to work. And then I wanted this song to be two queer people joining forces. We walked with each other through, I think, will be the most important part of my career. And I hope one of the most important parts of her career. And to get my first ever #1 in America with Kim is an honor. I'm so happy that we did it together and I wasn't alone. This is Pier Paolo Valentino custom moment at the Grammys. It was so beautiful. I love wearing Valentino. I wore them for my first ever Royal Albert Hall performance. I went to their show in Paris, which is an incredible show. I met with Pier Paolo at the Valentino offices in Paris, and we had a beautiful conversation. They're such an inspiring and magical person to be around. I was just so happy they were up for sharing this moment with me. And so me, Kim, and the dancers all got dressed, and we all just walked and did no interviews and just slowly walked through all these press, and then ended up on the red carpet. And it was me, Violet Chachki as well, and Gottmik, who came and were part of it. And it just felt so good. I normally do all these things alone. I normally do all my interviews alone, and it just felt so good to be with a team of queer icons and walking together. This is my favorite thing I've ever worn in my life. This was February, and we had done so much in January and February leading up to the release of this album. We'd done SNL, we did the Grammys, we did everything, and it was such a busy, mad time. And then about an hour before this photo was taken, we actually tried on the whole outfit. And I'll never forget it. It was me and my team, and my mum was there. Once I was like blown up, we then had to lube the whole outfit. And I just remember my mum just sitting there looking at me like, what the fuck is going on? But I couldn't get in a car to get to the red carpet, so I had to walk in this outside of the O2 Arena, all the way around past all the crew who'd built the stage, and I'm just like squeaking, walking outside in this latex outfit. And it was, honestly, I felt so powerful, more powerful than I ever felt in anything, because it was the humor behind it. I couldn't put my arms down and I couldn't put my legs together, so I was walking like this. It was honestly amazing. I'll never forget this moment. And we did it in heels. It was fabulous. One day I'll be blown up again. She will rise again one day. Oh my gosh. I hope to wear a wedding dress one day, but I think this is the most important dress I've ever worn. I've never experienced clothes like I did wearing Andreas and Vivienne's clothes, but I can't express how incredible it feels to be in a Vivienne Westwood corset. I felt like I was going to battle. It felt really emotional to actually have people mention me alongside the word fashion, because fashion means a lot to me, and it always has. And it's definitely felt at times like a club that I wasn't a part of, but it's something I never let go of. Sometimes I didn't have the courage to say the things I needed to, and clothes said the things that I needed to when I didn't have the courage. Same with some of my songs. Every day when I wake up, I decide who I want to be that day, and I now lean into the dynamics of it. I'm not just going to wear suits and have a quiff. I'm going to change things up, and it's so beautiful. You know, I feel like a kid in a dressing up box. Gandalf the they. Okay, what people don't understand is that 3 weeks before this, I had a ski accident and I ripped my ACL, but it was my first fashion show and I just broke my ACL. So thank God for my fabulous wizard staff. And I remember seeing Andreas walking out to do his bow, and I'll never forget walking past him, and I just had this amazing moment where I was like, lucky me. Like, oh my God. You know, as a kid, I remember working in a bar in London, and I would buy Love magazine and I would buy Vogues, and I would sit on the train going to my job in the bar as like an overweight, queer, confused kid. And I remember seeing those Vivienne Westwood campaigns and dreaming of one day living in that world. And it was such an amazing show to be part of. The music was incredible. This was my first ever Met Gala. I'm wearing Christian Cowan, and I'm with Christian Cowan. It was such a sensational night. I've never been to a more glamorous night in my life. It was everywhere you turned, it was just beauty and glamour, and it was just so fun. It was so fun. And then, you know, when Ariana came out, I just died. I've never felt more beautiful in clothes than I did on this night. Christian Cowan is an incredible designer, and I'm so excited to watch his star shine brighter and brighter. I wanted to wear a suit this time, and it was the first time in a long time that I wanted to wear a suit. But I wanted to find a way for it to link into to my gender identity now. And it's so fascinating what could be done with just a beautiful piece of material over the trouser. It just transformed the way I felt. I used to blame the suit. I used to blame the suit for the way that I felt, but now I realize that it wasn't the suit's fault. It was underneath. I hadn't done the work in here, and I hadn't done, you know, been educated enough, and hadn't, you know, I had to grow. I had to grow into the suit. The main thing that I want for menswear and for fashion in general is for someone like me to be able to go into a store and actually be able to buy the clothes I want to buy, because nothing fits me in stores. I just would love the opportunity to be able to go into the women's wear, menswear, and just be able to play with everything. That's what I'd love the most. And just a bit more color and bedazzling, please. Bye, Vogue. Thank you so much for walking down memory lane with me. This has been an absolute riot going through these pictures, and I hope I get to fill up this book with you again.